Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Always be training. That's the samurai's code right there. Always be training. These samurais, they were always training. Always. For the samurai, there was either two levels of existence. There was the war, and then there was training for the war. There was nothing else. There's fighting the war or there's training for it. You wonder, well, when do you rest? That sounds awfully stressful. Rest is a part of training. People who go to the gym understand that. When you work out with weights, you take breaks, a little minute break or a 2-minute break. Sometimes if you're doing really heavy powerlifting, you should take 2 or 3 minutes instead of just 30 seconds. But your break can vary, but you take little breaks in between your sets. You take a day off. It's very rare that I meet somebody who works out 7 days a week, even professional bodybuilders, and I know a few. You let your body heal. When you take days off is how your body grows. Your muscles heal and you grow. So rest is part of training. It's a calculated part of training. And when you rest, you're not just sitting around sleeping all day playing video games. People have active days of rest, and they fill themselves with nutrition and stretch out and take care of themselves, and self-love and all this kinds of stuff are parts of healing. And rest is looked at as healing. It's all part of training. That's what that is. It's part of training. You're either fighting those demons within, or you're training to fight them. You're either going through that storm, the storm in your life, that unexpected shit that happens, or you're training for it, for when it does. Always be training. This is just the warrior's mentality, is to have one up on your enemies. When your enemies are sleeping, you're training, you're studying, you're becoming sharper, you're sharpening your blade, you're healing yourself, you're preparing yourself for when that battle comes. While they're partying, getting drunk, celebrating with vice, you're doing push-ups, burpees, going on runs. When they're sleeping in, sleep until noon on the weekend, you're up early, studying, meditating, finding a spiritual connection, becoming a master in all these different ways. This is what the samurai does. This is what a true warrior, throughout the ages, this is what they do. There's only two modes of existence. There's the war, or there's training for the war. So always be training. People say, well, what? It sounds like that's a hard existence. Life is hard. What other option do you have? If you're not working on yourself on a daily basis to try to better yourself and try to sharpen your skills, sharpen that blade, so to speak. If you're not doing that, what other option is there? Sit there and make yourself weaker, run from your problems even more, which makes yourself weaker. The further you run, every year you become weaker. Each year that you don't turn around and fight those demons that have been chasing you, you become weaker. You'll age rapidly, deteriorate, atrophy, mentally and physically. What's the option if you're not training? It's atrophy. It's sliding even further backwards. This is how you claw your way out of the abyss. is through this type of training, mind, body, and soul. It's daily programming. And cats in prison that, do long stretches. Some of them, not all, they've figured this out. At least on some levels. Where you have to have a daily regimen of training to keep you strong. Or else you just turn into a psychopath, a weirdo, a pervert, a degenerate, an addict. You just slip into the pit of hell. This is how you keep yourself above ground. It's what keeps you going. So when people ask me, why are you so dedicated to this lifestyle of training, it may appear to be self-induced suffering for some, especially for those lazy people who just like to sit around all the time. I do it to make me strong enough so when the weather turns bad, my ship doesn't sink in those choppy waters. And for me, with PTSD, with anger issues, with a whole host of diagnosed severe psychological problems, I always have to be training. I know what it's like to give up on the gym and to watch my body deteriorate and become sickly, and to feel shame and guilt because I remember what it was like to be in good shape and to be so out of shape. There's a few years of my life when I don't have any photos, not one. It's because I was ashamed of what I looked like. So out of shape. And I was in the doctor's office a lot. I was getting sick a few times a week. Just felt like I was falling apart. There was no real diagnosis. What was wrong with you? Nobody really knew. Just getting older, I guess. Just hard living, I guess. Who the fuck knows? Getting on a mind, body, and soul lifestyle is what pulled me out of it. I'm 50 years old, and I'm the healthiest that I've ever been in my entire life. I got blood work done, clean numbers. Physically, I'm in the gym all the time. I'm in the best shape I've ever been. I'm no longer getting sick. I'm no longer suffering chronic pain. I know what it's like to suffer chronic pain and limp around for a year and a half, 2 years. Spend most of your time on the sofa because you just are in pain all the time. I no longer have any of that shit. It's through training. I know what it's like to have severe anger issues. I mean, I had uncontrollable anger where I was having episodes, fits of like bursts of anger where I would find myself becoming aggressive, really aggressive, without being able to really control it. And that's dangerous. Felt like I was losing my mind. That kind of shit continues. You end up in a straitjacket or behind bars. I mean, you can't do that for long. And I found myself becoming that way simply because I had stopped all my training. I became so focused on business. That was my problem. I stopped all my training. I was doing a mind, body, and soul regimen. That's what got me out of addiction, got me off the streets, got me away from the criminal lifestyle, changed me in profound ways. And I stopped it all. Because I felt like I plateaued. I was like, well, this is good. I mean, I did it. Pat myself on the back and walk off into the sunset, proud of my little success. I started a successful motorcycle shop. I got national attention, worldwide attention. And I just became submersed in that. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just living Sinister City motorcycles. Sinister all day, all the time, 24/7, Sinister. And after a good 15 years of that, I woke up with all the same problems that I started with. You know, it was funny because there was a downturn in business, just economically, and the motorcycle industry has been kind of like the Titanic. I could make a whole nother video about the industry, just the state of the motorcycle industry. I don't know if people are interested in that. And I started to worry about, well, what's next? What's next? Maybe I should start another business. Maybe the motorcycle industry isn't going to be going for another 20 years. I did it for the last 20 years, but who knows if it's going to go for another 20 years. With electric bikes coming in, and we just don't know what's going to happen. And I found myself slipping right back into my old patterns of thought. Criminality. I couldn't stop it. It was infecting my brain. I felt evil. I felt like the devil took me over. I was having the same thoughts that I used to. Becoming really aggressive and agitated all the time. Just kind of pissed off all the time. High strung. All of it, I could just go on and on and on. All of it was because I wasn't training. So the training is what keeps me going. What keeps me cool, what keeps me calm, keeps me in that warrior mode. I want to stay in that warrior mode. I don't want to go into wimp mode, because that's what I look at it, the lazy shit is just wimp mode. You want to be in wimp mode? Are you living for wimp mode? I'm not living for wimp mode. I'm living for fucking warrior mode. ABT, always be training. That's the way I had someone tell it to me. Thanks for watching.